Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, well, we basically have the same setup as yesterday. Let's grab the links first. Oh my internet doesn't like me. YouTube doesn't like me, it's giving me a 502. There we go. Okay. Okay, so if we just pull out our chart here, zoom in. So yesterday we had this big move down, and then it came back kind of in the evening overnight session, and then we tried pushing higher, failed to get higher, and then pushed lower. And now we're seeing almost the exact same setup. A overnight session came up and down, but I mean they did find a bottom. So I mean, we are once again looking at a situation where they may push up and break out and confirm a reversal, or they might fail or not even bother to test it and just try and push new lows. So it's kind of nice, I think, because we get to try out what we learned yesterday. Yeah, and hopefully we do better this time. So yeah, should be fun. Bitcoin, on the other hand, they tried buying it and they got dashed. Came down. Now they're recovering. This seller in Bitcoin is really insistent, and I would stay away from this asset completely until he is gone. And the sellers overall are done. And you know, if the trend just continues, it's going to go to 3. So that's what our indicator projects. Can run this, by the way. Generate charts. Bum, 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 Okay, well, good news is we've come down significantly on the oscillator, finally. We're still in an overbought condition, but it's 132. And if I do the math, if that puts the bottom at 3150, which is a little bit higher than it was before. We do have news in 10 minutes. I'm wondering if I should consider staying out until then. Have some food. Morning, everybody. I've got a good number of people watching again. Nobody on the YouTube. Kind of interesting how everybody is just slowly migrating to Twitch. This is okay because people that want to watch afterwards are going to look on YouTube, so. Yep. Let's look at the daily Treasury yield rates. Go 517. Okay. So the spread is about where it was yesterday, actually. I really think a long knob would be good. And it's somebody was pointing out that there's an aberration in the longer end of the curve, like in the ultras. I don't know if I want to mess with the ultras though. Not today, at least. Yes, we need to change our spread indicator to show us 3 legs instead of 2. It totally will do that. Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how, I mean, I don't know what changed if 3 of you just decided to switch from YouTube to Twitch, but pretty consistently at 6 now on Twitch, which is really cool. I think we'll definitely, I think we can definitely proselytize, spread the gospel of futures trading more effectively via Twitch. But we'll see. Okay, well, I'm thinking, definitely at the moment, at least, that they appear to be buying, but we do have news in 7 minutes. And I don't necessarily like the price that we're getting. I think that somewhere around 16 half 17 is where the sellers are going to try and clamp down on it. We might see a really big iceberg. And then at that point, it's like 50-50 as to whether or not they go through it. So we're just going to hold it. If they give us 14 half, we could take it if we still feel that it's a long. Otherwise, we're just going to wait until the news. So I'm going to eat a little bit here and go quiet, and I will come back in 5 minutes. Okay, so here we go. We're about to get the numbers here. So we're looking at the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index and unemployment claims. We're looking for 21.1 on the Fed and 216 on unemployment. Okay, we're getting a decent pull. Okay, so the claims is 222. 222 versus 216 or so. So the unemployment claims is a little bit more than expected, which is bad. So we could come up. The Philly Fed is late. Forex Live says that the Philly Fed is late, and the liquidity is still pulled. So this is interesting. Philly Fed is really late. Okay. Some pulling there at 15.5. Okay, so the Fed was 34.4 versus 21 expected. That's really good. Okay. May have a significant iceberg here at 15. They just busted through it with 7K. Wow. This one over here in the 5-year holding us back. Okay, they pushed through it and you could see the pull in the 10-year. Well, the numbers overall were good. We've gotten good 3 ticks down. We're at the VWAP where I would say that the daily trend is now in our favor. We had rejection at the top of the profile last, although it's 958. I think that should be okay. So I think we are okay to take a short here. As long as we're not taking on a strong uptick, which I think that's good right there. Okay. And ZF is still right there, and they're actually initiating lower. The 5-year is not below the VWAP yet. Okay, so we had good sell pressure, but it's not doing anything yet. Yeah. Well, Jack is saying we're shorting right into a spot where buyers may step back into continuation. I mean, I don't really. Okay, so now that uptick. Yeah, okay. I think we're still okay. I'd like to see a strong downtick, and if I don't get a strong downtick again, then I'm gonna get out because we did see the selling come in, and we did have the news in our favor to be pushing us down. I think based off of that really good Philly Fed number. So okay. Okay, so that tick I think was what we needed to tell us to get out. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that, Jack, because they can totally go through it too. Um, I think though maybe we could have gotten it out of it earlier, for sure. Because they, the sellers came in, but they really, uh, that the 140 went bid, but we didn't really see a whole lot go through there, you know? So, I would personally still prefer a lower push, yeah. Oops. So I think now, um, we are seeing a lot of meandering, but it has come back down to the VWAP, and I'm feeling like I want to sell it again. And I think that this is the spot where I screw up, right? Because this is the one where I think, okay, now it can go down, so I short it at 14.5 again and then get out at 15.5. It is curious that there's that 6K at 15.5. So I think we have to look at why the last one failed and what we would need to see to ensure that that's not what's going to happen to us again. So I think the first one is, okay, so that all that orders at 15.5 pulled. So I think the first one is that if we were going to get short, we would probably want to get a better position. So the 15.5 I think would be acceptable. It's pretty unlikely that you'd get the 16. Or if you do get the 16, it's probably wrong. But then the other thing is that we 140 went bid, but we didn't really see initiation at that point. It was kind of at the point where it was like, okay, let's give it a little bit more time, a little bit more room to breathe and see if it goes, and it didn't. So I think that in order for me to really want to try that short again, I would need to see the 140 again. Why would I want to get short at the 14.5? Well, let me type it. Well, sure enough, right there at the edge of the profile between 16.5 and 17, there was I want to say a little bit of a tepid rejection. Probably going to see a lot more volume trade through there though. Yep, so that was a pretty good take. This might be enough to say that they are initiating a second move. And since the down move didn't materialize, I think we do have to be looking along. Okay, so that I think is definitely what we needed to see. Okay. It's going at the moment. ZF is kind of playing coy with us, I think. Oh, I can't do it, guys. I can't do it. There you go. Okay, so some stops. That's good. See, what happened right there was almost exactly what I thought was about to happen at 14. But they did not do it. Now, if we break a new high and this really develops into something, I think that starts to get interesting, because then does that mean that we're going to see the E-mini come down? I suppose that a move like this could encourage equities and they could buy off of it. Okay, so the problem I'm seeing right now is ZF is having a hard time holding a bid before the high of the day, and they've come quite a bit. I mean, we caught the edge that we want to, but there's always a possibility that it just doesn't develop. Okay. Okay, so now a pretty significant iceberg at 17.5. Reloading kind of behavior. Okay, so now there's a tick up in ZF that was much more positive, I think. I don't like this much trading there, but it's not a super significant amount. And here, the 5,000 trading here. I also think that's, I mean, well, we can't ignore 5K, but we definitely have enough to get through it. Except for that it's not going to be a 5K at that point, it's going to be like a 10K. And we have a 7K there too, so Maybe we might just have to chalk this up to there's just a lot of people interested here. Okay, so ZF again needs to get up to testing the high. We're going to go much higher. Man, so how often do you see 10K at a spot like that? That is unusual. Or we were talking yesterday, like maybe we look at the icebergs too much, but I can't ignore a 10K. I think that that's pretty good support for us to try and test a new high, but if it fails, it's going to be really bad. So we really need to pay attention here. Okay, so this right here looks like a spoof to me. Not a spoof, but a lure. This looks like a lure to me in 292 in ZF. So they make it look weak, but then they're buying. They're absorbing the contracts. Yeah, machine gun selling at 17.5 now. That's interesting. Okay, so we're seeing a spread. That was a spread. Steepener being put on right there. Steepener on FYT, which is good. Wow. And now 5. See them just coming through 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And he's buying the 5 and he's selling the 10. Okay, well, they were able to hold an offer at 17.5. Well, I do feel like it's been a long time. Um, I don't like how firm that offer in 18 is at the moment. Don't like that ZF hasn't ticked up. Now on the split side, we did take it down. 170 went bid for a moment, but there wasn't really anything that went through. So I think it's worth keeping. If we get a strong tick against us, we should probably bail. If we see pulling at 17.5, it could be a lure. If we see pulling at 18, it could be a lure. Definitely, if we see iceberging there, maybe we could put an order in and just try and get out at +1. Okay. Or you could have a strong tick up and put 4,600 on the bid. So pretty good chance of them taking a high now. Okay, so we need to hold this. Yeah, we are getting, since we started this uptrend, the E-mini has been moving up as well. So they like that rates are coming off. We've got enough trickling through here that it could go. Could go quite a bit from here. Okay, so a bit of pulling now. They firmed back up. Okay. So I'm just noticing that the ZB ticked down 1, but nobody's selling the 25 yet. It hasn't made a bar because nobody sold it. It's gotten awfully quiet. I still haven't seen an order go through at 25. Okay, they finally took it. Well, now you got a fairly strong offer at 26. We'll see if they pull. Okay. So then now they're hitting 18 half. Yeah. I did not see that. I did not see that. We're gonna have to look that on the replay. Maybe somebody put something on the DOM and then no, well that wouldn't make sense. You're saying was it on the bid or the offer? Okay. So I think we have to take +1 on this, or try. Yeah. Crap. Hmm. So much volume up there. Not sure what to think now. So I think the thing that gets me the most at the moment is the cumulative delta down in ZN. And I feel like, that 25 was bid for a really, really, really long time before they hit it. And then when they hit it, it really went through. So it's kind of feels to me like people bailing. Also, I think it says that we're just super thick. So net 2000 that went offer. Normally, I would be like, okay, that was a pretty significant step down. Now it doesn't seem like such a big deal to me, because we had 4Ks on the bids when we were going up. I guess on the other side, the bid is pulling when it ticks. Went from 4,000 to 2,000, and when we were ticking up, the offers just stayed solid. I'm wondering if, I would think that almost any other market situation that we'd been in, that they would have been able to go up and make new highs, stop some of those shorts out. I think that the shorts here are just have really strong hands. Well, it's kind of dead on the move down too. It could reverse. Okay, well, we're gonna hit into a pretty big order here at 16.5. Wow. Okay, they did tick up. I put an L there at the 16 half before. When did I do that? Oh, that was the previous day's low. That's why. Okay. Top story on Reddit right now is Trump accuses Obama of embedding spy in his campaign while citing no evidence for claim in misspelled early morning tweet. There are a lot of reporters that have been talking about this story all week. So I think it's a little funny for The Independent to be saying there's no evidence because this story has not really hit yet. Okay, they ticked up. I mean, if it's gonna go up and break a new high, this 17 is sure is a good place to do it, to get in. Can take it there. Bail at 16 or 15.5. Take it for 4. Actually, maybe 6. I don't know, guys. I don't know if the risk reward here is good enough for what seems like 50-50 chance at this time to me. And the funny thing is that even if they do decide that they're gonna buy it, they might not be able to make it. Well, ZB is not above that 25 yet, so in fact the ZB ticked down. Okay. So I'm kind of reading that as there was a tepid buy that didn't develop at all and just came back. and in ZF, the delta is lower. We might be getting a tell here. Why do you wait for price to move 4 to 6 ticks before you decide to click in? Because that was just how long it took for me to see something that I thought had a good enough probability of going through. Did you see a signal earlier than that you thought would have had a good probability and would have given us a better position? So maybe I'm just missing something. It does seem like I'm often late to some trades. You know, like it works really well when it's trending, but you know, it's like when it's trending, you just have to click the right direction, right? Just as an example, you know, how far did it get? It actually did tick to 18 that time. So we had a tepid buy, it ticked up to 18. It didn't go. So I suppose I could take a counter trend trade there and taken a few ticks out of it. But at this point, it's how do I know that they're not going to go for the high, or that they're going to reverse and come lower? And here at this point, how do I know that they're not just going to bounce again? Well, if I was looking for a short, I think that the highest I would be willing to short is 17. Or sorry, the lowest that I would be willing to short. Because that was the bottom of the volume cluster. Right here. This 3-tick cluster. So it would be better to do 17 half or 18, of course, but probably 17 might be the best that you get. And you gotta think, if you get filled, okay, if you get filled at 17 half, you now have a much higher probability of it ticking through you. But I'm still not at the point where I can say if we should be going short or long. Because what I see, it's easier to see it over here. A little bit of a sell, didn't work, it took off. A little bit of a buy, didn't work, it's come off. Balanced, and it's essentially the same price that it started at. So why would I have a bias? Not a bias, but why would I have a... Why would I be looking for a long or a short? I have to see something in the order flow to tell me that the buyer or the seller is much bigger. And I think that what we saw here also is that the seller is the longer term time frame person, but both sides have big orders on their side. We've seen 10Ks in both spots. So, you know, at that point, there's no trade, right? Unless the E-mini starts moving us. The E-mini, by the way, looks like it's going to buy. pull it up here. The pre-morning action looks like they're going to buy. There you go. That one was only good for a few ticks. No, I don't think I would short 15.5. I think that I would short 14. Just because I don't think that the DOM is gonna put pressure on prices until you get down to 14. And then then the offer is gonna thicken up and they're gonna try and put pressure on it to make us sell. Mm, okay. Well, I really want to click in, but um, that kind of looks to me like that was the trade. So I still can't predict if it's going to go through. If it really comes up there, we might see an as she goes and we can take that. See, now aren't we glad that we didn't short it? I shouldn't say that. Probably a couple of you did short it. And maybe you already got out, so. Yeah, I would say that the majority of my trades are breakout trades for sure. I don't necessarily see a problem with that though. As long as I'm selecting them appropriately. Like, you know, that there really is actually a decent probability of it going through, and it's that kind of day that has the support for it and things like that, you know? And I guess the thing is I don't want to be fading something strong. Because I think what you're saying, if I'm reading between the lines here correctly, is that okay, we had a move up. They kind of definitely touched 18. Now they're going back and forth here, 17.5. You could go short at 17.5 and you would be on the upper edge of it, and then take it off at 16. And all I'm saying is, yeah, but what if they decide to break out 18 and there's a stop run up to 20? I don't want to be involved in that. Hmm. Well, Jack was trying to buy the VWAP. Yeah, it's okay if it's that day. That's where it's like the problem isn't trying to take a continuation or a breakout trade. I mean, if that's what you're good at and you have a strategy and it has a positive expectancy, then that's good. But the problem is the trade selection. So we had a potential trade there, and I took it at the 17.5, and it really looked like it was going to go, and I probably had an opportunity to take a +1, but I wasn't fast enough. Um, I'm okay with that one. The first one, I think I should have been. I mean, there was a signal there, but it probably wasn't strong enough to be taking the trade where I took it. No, see what Keith is saying. What I'm saying is you should be looking for longs between 140 and 150 and shorts between 175 and 185. Those are just spots where you know if you're wrong the quickest and can get out at minimal damage. Now, if auction activity increases substantially at either end, then you need to be patient to wash it out. But if you always do that, then you're always going to miss the trend moves. Well, I take that back. I mean, you could have potentially have bought it at 16. I could see that one. At 16, it didn't seem. I didn't feel confident enough about it back there. I'm actually even still, even though ZF did make a new high. Uh, uh, okay. So, would you be fading it right now? We'll see. This one maybe is not as high of a probability either. I mean, if we were trending, then I would take this one every time. In this context, we haven't actually made a higher high in cumulative delta, so probably is a 50-50 chance if we go through. Well, no, I don't think it would be a 50-50 chance. I mean, we are seeing some pretty good pressure. So I think it's a little better than 50-50, but it's not. I guess I'm just saying it's not as positive of a setup as when I really like to take it. Hmm. Let's just make sure we get this pivot here. Hmm. Okay. That's what I wanted to see on an uptick. Decent bid and the top pulling. I mean, not seeing any, well, not any, but it's average liquidity at the high of the day. That's not normal. So I think at this point there's a really, really high probability that we're going to break a new high. And here's CB is about to touch it. Nope, not quite. Not done yet though. Well, obviously you have to select the trade, right? Like if you look at this one right here and you say sell this and buy this, no, I don't think so, because you don't want to be, buying this and getting caught on that. or um, you know, you don't want to be the wrong way. I think that you just have to be able to read the pressure and to be able to select the right ones. So yeah, you can buy this one right here, 16.5. I don't think you want to buy, I don't think you want to sell that one, because that one, there was serious pressure there. I mean, the probability of it going up at that point was really, really high. And it's quite surprising to me that we didn't go through the first time. And that's why, I was really tepid, being careful, because it had already failed once. But then once it came up to there, I bought that 18.5 with confidence. Should have bought at 23. Oh, right, because you didn't get filled on that one. Yeah, but you're saying if you take it at 23, that's a breakout trade, dude. That doesn't even go along with what I think you're saying. So now I'm confused at what you're trying to say. That 23 is not the edge of her profile. In fact, 23 is, well, I guess 23 is like right in the middle of something. I'm saying that the price needs to be advantageous. So here's how I think about it. Because I do think that price needs to be advantageous, but I think that what I consider advantageous is a little different from what maybe other people do. What I see right here, right now, where I'm long 18.5, that, in my opinion, is a somewhat advantageous price, because there's a lot of liquidity on it, and it was a place at which somebody initiated, and if they try and take it out, it will be defended, and even if they win, it will probably trade multiple times, so I'll be able to get out at break even. 18 would have been even more advantageous price, because it's the bottom of this zipper, I guess you could say. But to me, the advantageous price is the edge. It's like catching the edge. We take it as she goes, and then hopefully this price should never clear again. That to me is advantageous. I don't think it has anything to do with how far it was within the range, because where the person that's pushing this up doesn't give a fuck about where the range was. So that action right there, we saw them hit it. 1,700 contract, a decent number of contracts went through, but it's still pretty thick and it's still holding, and they're still pushing up. So that says to me that I that's like a further confirmation that I actually did get in at an okay spot. Where I think you would know you're wrong is like, that works when there's serious pressure, like now possibly, but other times it won't. I agree with that, Jack. And my whole thing is, I need to understand when you got that pressure and when you don't. Okay, so for them to take it and clear like that, I think is a bad sign, so we're going to scratch it. It may yet continue, but clearly I don't have a clean enough edge to want to risk it. Oh, okay. Well, okay, so that's a good point too. Keith's saying is if you're going to play for breakout, it needs to go and go quick. I'm not going to sit in a breakout trade for 10 minutes hoping and praying breakout plays are about timing because your risk is hard to judge if you're sitting in it. Well, I think in the 10-year you have to give it more than 10 minutes. But yeah, if you were waiting for a breakout trade and it's been 30 minutes, then it's probably not the right trade. But I think my kind of the under what is the word the base foundation theory here is I only want to be in when there's serious pressure, or rather that there is large players on my side with the intention to push it much further than it is right now. I think that when it's in, ranging around, that to me is indication that those players are happy with where it is and they all think that the price is fair within this certain range, and I don't really know if they're going to try and push it out of it or not. And if I take a trade, especially right at the edge, the chances that it breaks out of that range is completely random. So I don't want to take those. But I think that I'm really great. I mean, when the pressure is there and I take it and I do really, really well, but it seems like there's a lot of times where I think the pressure is there and it's not. So it's the trade selection is not that good. I mean, there is some positioning involved too. I think not on that particular one. I think on that one, that was a level break. They didn't take it. I got out break even. I think that I took that one correctly. When it did it before, when did I get in that one? I think on some of the other ones we might have been able to get some better positioning on it. So this one was at 712. 712. Oh, that's interesting. I bought it after it had already tried to go up. Oh no, wait, that's when I closed it. No, I got in at 651. Okay, so it was after it had already come up. So on this one, I think that I had bought it right here. On this one, it wasn't an issue of the positioning so much as it is that there was pressure up and I didn't see it until it was way too late. I probably may have been able to see that pressure building way back down here, and I was too cautious. Because I could have taken, probably could have taken 16 on that one, and that would have given me 3 more ticks, and I definitely could have gotten a winner out of that one. So even with like this action that we have right here, I think is a good example though. I mean, we didn't break a new high. There was a level break set up and they didn't take it. So I think that tells us something. and it could mean that we're gonna push down, but at the moment it's not showing up, right? The clear pressure is not there. Maybe we're gonna get it here at 17.5. Maybe. So right now I just see this as like we should watch for it. Sure. Yeah. Okay. This one, it looks like I was just missed it, or was a little unlucky. I don't want to buy 17 because I think that one 17 doesn't appear to be a very solid edge right there. Maybe I shouldn't use the word edge because I'm kind of talking about it's a place where it's going to be defended, and maybe you're thinking like edge, like there's a probability. Maybe I should say ledge. 17.5 would have been a great place. And look, I'm 169 in Q. uh, Now just imagine if you shorted 185 after the auction activity is slowed down, your risk is 1 to 2 ticks if you're wrong. Yes, but the risk isn't the only thing that matters, right? Probability matters too. Probability when we were up at 18.5 was not 50-50. That was something that when I've seen pressure on it go, it's going to go 70-80% of the time. So I don't think that the risk reward there actually makes sense for me. Certainly not at 18.5. I think it would be fair to say maybe you could have seen it at 18. Like, you could have taken 18 as it went. Okay. 17.5 is definitely the ledge. I tested it actually. I forward tested that one. Okay, so now I don't like how I got filled. This next takedown better be good, or there's only 3 to 18, so okay. That's okay. Good question. How many times did that happen? Oh, that's not it. Where is it? Ah, here it is. It looks like I let it happen 20 times. Kind of should have continued them tracking some of these longer than I did. I have another spreadsheet that I can't, I forget where it is that had it in it too. Okay. I'm not sure that this trade makes sense anymore. Well, they're still giving me good down ticks. I need to see more volume come through here first. So maybe, Keith, let me try explaining my reasoning here at 18.5 a different way. You're saying you short 18.5 and you can have your stop at like 19.5, right? If I'm wrong, I am not going to be the only person that's wrong. And there will be stops there. And there will be a stop run. And I don't want to be getting out in a flush where everybody else is like that. So that is maybe another case where you might be able to say that the risk reward on that trade is not actually what it appears to be. Is that fair? So I think the one that we're talking about is like a super specific situation. Man. So I like that they ticked through 17, and that was really what I want to see. They didn't put a huge offer on. Okay. Okay. Anyways, I think that then maybe that particular trade is a little bit too specific for the discussion that we're having because it's at the high, you know? It's at the high of the day, and it's just a really juicy target for them to try and stop people out at, you know? Okay, that's a little better. Fighting, offer still holding. This may be spoofing. Because I don't see a reason for it to be going up here. We're not, it's not like the ZF almost ticked up or ZB almost ticked up. It was just kind of pulling. So that might be spoofing. We're not getting much pulling at 16.5 though. Okay. So not only are we at the edge on an edge here at 16.5, but I am seeing a little bit of indication that they don't really want to take it yet, or at least that they're going to defend the 16.5. So I'm going to see if I can get out here. I'm kind of questioning myself if maybe I should be just taking the 17. I feel like there's been enough of volume at 16.5 that I should be able to get filled. Just in the like it's the point of control, so you'd think that you'd be able to get filled. Okay, yeah. You have to be patient on the edge, please. The timing is important. Yeah. Keith, you seem like you're really good at catching the timing on those because there's a lot of trades like that where you get in and then almost immediately afterwards they tick down and I'm kind of like, wow, what just happened there that I did not see? The E-mini is on quite a run, so I was hmm, the trade in the E-mini here is kind of interesting because um I was saying before the market opened here that it looked like we were going to buy. And we did get a little bit of a buy, and then they gave up and went lower. Then we did actually end up going higher after all. So I think that's kind of one where it's like you're right, but you're not right. Okay, so should I keep my order in? Um, I think that they might take it again. Well, I mean, I'm so far ahead in the line. Hmm. Crap. Hmm. Okay, that was a spoof. That's actually almost enough to make me think about pulling my order at 16.5. You know what though, we're so bound here. I don't think that it's a good idea for me to try and go for like the 4 tick or the 6 tick. I think I should just leave it in there. And I have such a good position in the queue. I don't want to give that up. Okay, yeah, Keith. You have I mean you have good points, Keith. Don't get me wrong when you say sometimes you chase, I think that that is true. I don't think it's like a huge problem, but I do think that I do that sometimes. And I do think that sometimes we have some like pullbacks, you know, where we're still clearly in an uptrend, but we get like a 3 tick pullback, and I probably could have bought it there, and I don't, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like when I'm sitting in a trade and I'm 700 in line and I'm sitting here waiting forever to get a fill. I don't like that. It's not like I don't like that because it's bad for me mentally. It's like to me that's an indication that they might be about to reverse here. because nobody's willing to sell it anymore. At least nobody's willing to sell it at 16.5. No, you're right, Keith. Yeah, well, well, yeah, that's definitely not what's happening, but what's happening today, I think, is the special third situation. So let's get filled here, and then I want to draw pictures again. Because I don't think that today's action is necessarily the best for this conversation, unfortunately. Oh, come on. Crayon time, right? Okay, so the downticks, what I'm seeing is this 17 is just very much a balance area. At last. Okay. Now let's draw a picture. So, paint.net. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so there's 3 things I want to talk about. Yes, okay, so it's the eyes, and then the types of days, and then what was the other thing that I want to talk about? Oh, yes, and then the VWAP thing. Okay. So those are my notes. Okay, so the first thing is what just happened right there. So we get this thing where we have these bars. Or that's so bad. You know, this is like my one range chart, right? And we get this sort of thing. Okay. So there's 3 prices here. When I put an eye on a DOM, it's because I see that. Okay, and that's the middle of it. So the eye is the place where there's a very high probability of getting filled. The edges, it is very, very hard to get filled, and you're unlikely to get filled unless you have a really, really good position in the queue. And if you don't have a good position in the queue and they fill you, there's a pretty good probability that they're going to go right through you. Okay. So what I prefer to do, instead of trying to catch this edge here, because I don't necessarily know which way it's going to be going out, what I would prefer to get instead is, you know, a rangy area where we're clearly going up and they stop right here and I catch it, and then we come up and we're going to have this. I get out here, and then it doesn't matter if it goes up or down. That makes sense? So that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah? So I'll wait and see what you say first before I can move on to the next thing. And I already posted. Yes, I did already post this. Okay, yes. But if you catch an edge, they trade through you and immediately hit 1K into the price. You exit immediately for -1. Yes. Yes, I agree. I agree. I agree. And I may not. I'd have to say I'm not too good at that, because because usually what will happen is they'll go through it and they'll hit a little bit here, but then they'll push back through here. And so then I'm like, well, maybe I can get out break even, or maybe not. Let's see what happens. And then they tick again, and then I get out at the -2. Okay. So next thing. Okay. What was it? What did I put there? TD. Oh, the type of day. Okay, yes. So I think that there's 4 types of days. Okay. This here is interest, and this is trend. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So today, I'm going to, so where is today? So today, I think we have a little bit of trend because we are above the VWAP for almost the whole session. But here in the regular session, we never really got the ADX above like a trending period. Okay. So I'm going to say, but there's a lot of volume trading here. So I'm going to say that today is somewhere around here. Okay. Yesterday was, what was yesterday? Oh yeah. Okay. So yesterday was kind of more like this. Yesterday, they actually, they're going to sell. Well, it's past 8:30, so I'm not going to take any more. Man, those freaking dogs. Okay, but yesterday, if you look at yesterday's action, okay, it was extremely range bound, but there was very high interest. This kind of day is the hardest day for me because what you tend to get is you tend to get these sort of things where it's like almost an expanding range, and what I also like to call this fighting, right? It's like there's 2 big players that really want to fight it out, and neither of them are winning. But something happened yesterday, was that yesterday it turned into a day like this where somebody won and it just trended all day. Okay. So this one is the hardest kind of action, but it's kind of hard because this action can turn into this. Okay. So then what happens is you get, there's another type of thing, which is, after a move, you can get a sort of a thing where there's a trend, but it's like everybody knows that it's trending and nobody really tries to fight it. So this is like when you look at the 1 tick charts, this is this thing. Right? It's like the slow bubble up sort of a move, you know? So like it's trending, but it's not trending strongly. There's not necessarily the interest. It's like it's trending up because there's liquidity. Oh yeah, so that's another thing I should say, is that on this side, when the interest is low, this is liquidity. I should type it. This is liquidity dominant. Okay. And this is market order dominant. Okay. So liquidity dominant. So, and then this one down here is like the one that we all hate. This is the one where it just kind of goes like this all day. And this is like the 8 tick range day. Yeah. So can you kind of see that? Does that make sense? I don't know if that, I mean, that was just, I wasn't trying to like counter anything that you guys were saying earlier or anything, but it was just a couple of things that you said kind of made me think back to that as like, this is how I look at the different types of days. And of course it can switch between them. And it tends to go like, it tends to go in a circle like this. Actually, it's not like that. It tends to go like to this one and then to this one. And then maybe it goes to this one or this one. Anyways, but you know, you get into a range and then somebody decides to initiate a strong, when they initiate, that's market orders, so a strong high interest trend that develops, and then that trend can either turn into fighting or it can turn into continuation bubble up, right? Sometimes we also see it where it's liquidity dominant and then we get a bubble up and then it becomes market order dominant. Anyways, but this is the one that screws me up, because this is the one where it's like, there's a bunch of market orders. I see pressure in the DOM and then it doesn't go. And you were saying, you know, like that's not this kind of day. Yeah, it was that. But the one where I would feel safe, like fading the high of the day, for instance, is when it's this day. When it's liquidity dominant, there's a very low range and there's not a whole lot of interest. Okay, so there's that. And then here's the last thing that I wanted to talk about, which is like, let's say we have a move like this, and this is the VWAP. Okay, so we go like this, and then we go like this, but we come up, something like that. Okay, but basically, you know, I should have the VWAP level off so that it's like that. It should be like, okay. So our price is going to be up here a little bit, and then it came down, and then it came up, and then it faded off, right? So this is a day where we spend equal amount of time on both sides of the VWAP, which means that we are in a low trend day, so we're in one of the two bottom quadrants. And this again turns into the action that I have a really hard time with, especially if it's the one where they're initiating, because what I see is, okay, we're up here. Now there's a possibility of continuation, and it doesn't go. So it does the exact opposite of what you want to see, right? And in order to make money off of this move, I have to fade the longer term trend, right? Same here, I have to fade the longer term trend. I have to fade the longer term trend. And because of my rule, this is where it really screws me up. And so one of the problems has been saying, when are we actually in that kind of action? In the 10-year, we're not having that. Oh wow, we really went. Oh no, wait, that was yesterday. I'm like, what the heck? Okay, so I could have gotten 160. Maybe I should have held it. Oh, that's right. We took it off because we had a good place in the order, and it was almost 8:30. That one did have a, I think the way that it ticked down there, though, we had a good chance of getting another tick. Because that was clearly spoofing. It's been a long time since I've seen spoofing that was that obvious to me. Oh, so why am I bringing this up? Because I shorted it above the VWAP. Yeah, shorted it at where is it? I shorted it at 17.5 and took it off at 16.5. So today, at least, For the first time in a very, very long time, I eventually recognized that it is this kind of day and took the counter trend trade right here. Back to the view up. So I am super happy right now that I came out today only -1. Make sense? Questions? I can go here in like 3 minutes. Mr. WSDA, hello. Sorry, I've kind of been trying to keep myself really tuned into the DOM action more, so I apologize to anybody if you comment in YouTube or Twitch or even in Discord and I don't necessarily answer it at that time. Okay, well, I don't see any comments, so if you have anything more to say, you can just type it in Discord and I'll look at it when I come back from work. Anyways, yeah, also in ZB, very, very range mapped, so maybe that was something that we could have looked at that would have been a good indication that we weren't actually going to go. That was certainly what I saw in ZB when I ditched this one that broke even. I saw that ZB hadn't made a new high and it really should have. Okay. Anyways, catch you tomorrow.